Biomedicine organized this event for students to learn, to share their knowledge and experience with their friends and colleagues. And in medicine, is in ancient medicine, there is a Greek and Latin language was the normal in ancient time. And then today, we know that the English is the international language in many area of our life, especially in medicine and science. And if you want to read or learn from the most influential journals or the textbooks, that is in English. So in medical languages, as many root from the Latin and Greek language, and now we have many English words in our medical vocabulary, and then PCR, CT, MRI, and ICU is the standard word for many languages. So we don't need to translate these languages from English. So I'm very proud the students who joined this conference as a speaker, because when I was a student in the first year of my medical year, so I have no experience, or I have no learning in English. So I want to share my personal story with all of you. If you take a look this, so I will, sorry. And I hope I want to show this notebook here, and you can read this text as a notebook. But in 1997, when I joined my medical university, and I first joined my English class, and I bought this kind of notebook from the store, and then asked my friend how to read this text. He said, we should read this text as a notebook, but there is no U sound in this the word. So I read as not a book. And I asked my friend why I should read this as a notebook, because there is no sound as a U. And he said, this is the pronunciation. We need to read that kind of text. And then I started learning from my junior year of the medical school. And then after my graduation, I went many interviews for graduate programs, and I started learning English more and more. And then I accepted a PhD program in Japan. And then when I come to the Japan, so I need to learn Japanese for everyday life. So the language is the important part of the international citizen, because we need to travel, we need to meet, we need to share our idea and knowledge and experience with many other peoples. So in this regard, so today's conference is important to how the students develop their skill as a speaker. So I'm very grateful for the students who joined from Japan, Russia, and our university from Mongolia. And I also very grateful to the Department of Foreign Language and the supporters. For example, the Professor Hamajima and Professor Masashi. So many people are behind this event. So I'm very grateful for your support, and I wish best for all of you, especially for the students, to their learning language journey. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. And also, beginning the ceremony, second speaker, Nobuyuki Hamajima, Chief Emeritus Professor at the Department of Healthcare Administration, Graduate School of Medicine at Nagoya University. Professor?
Thank you for your kind introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So good afternoon, conference participants. Mininer Hamajima. I deeply appreciate the kind invitation to my student and me. I am very glad to attend this International Student Conference on Medical Language and Culture with the international participant from the Irkutsk Medical University and the Tokushima University. I know well that the Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences, Anagahin Shinjirech Ohani Undersni Ifsargari, is very active in the education, including foreign language. This event, presentation of the students in English, looks very attractive. I learned your active achievement through my visit to your university. I visited Ulaanbaatar several times in the past. And during 2015 to 2019, student exchange programs were conducted in cooperation with your foreign language center and my department. 21 Mongolian students visited Nagoya 1 week with a supervisor. Professor Tumruk Huyag is one of the supervisors and visited Nagoya in 2019. 50 Japanese students visited Ulaanbaatar. They truly enjoyed the nature and the culture of Mongols. The common language was English, of course, among both students. A well-trained English of the Mongolian student attracted me very much at that time. Generally speaking, English education in Japan is a little bit behind other Asian countries. In Nagoya University School of Medicine, lectures in English is very limited, and the occasion to use English are not many. Attending today's conference is a very good chance to my students. COVID-19 is making a huge damage to the world, including Mongols and Japan. But it made internet conference very popular. And today, we can meet each other across the borders through the internet. I hope today's conference will be fruitful. Thank you again for providing me, my student and me, this valuable occasion. Masik Badala.
Thank you, Professor. Okay, we're going to talk about the conference now. Let me briefly introduce you to today's conference agenda. First, we have Hayashi at 4:15, Hayashita Natsumi from Nagoya University. The topic is students' perceptions towards learning nursing in the context of COVID-19, how to maintain and promote mental health. Secondly, we have Naga Yuki from also Nagoya University, challenges facing globalization of health care system, do nurses need to develop competency in English language? And Professor Hamajami will chair the first two presentations. Before Amina takes butter, we're going to have the first two discussion for the first two presentations earlier. And thirdly, we have Amina Sexwater from Manums. The topic is importance of English language in medical field. Thirdly, we have Strudal Zakhar from Irkutsk Medical University, present algorithms of COVID-19. And fourth, we have Ayunder Satnamgilik from the Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences. The topic is efficacy of using foreign languages in student studies and learning differences between Mongolian and English courses of Manums. And lastly, we have Dorj Basam Bansuk and Hantushik Biliksechen from Manums, maternal animal prevalence and risk factors in bioorganic province. And before we start the presentations, I would like to highlight and introduce some of the professors. And today at this presentation, we have honorary professors, Professor Timur Hoyik and Professor we have Aikaiki Masashi, Dean of Faculty of Medicine from Tokushima University. And today's three judges for all the presentations will be Inghwat Tumunjang, Professor Inghwat Tumunjang. And secondly, we have Girtle Bassan, Professor Girtle Bassan. And the third judge is Nasanjava Tavdorj. And let's move on to the next parts of the agenda. At 6:14, we have discussion time for the first part. At 6:35, we will have a 10-minute short break. And at 5:29, we have Nakai Koka from Tokushima University. The topic is No One Will Be Left Behind for Sustainable Cities and Communities. At 5:38, we have Yurtimtul Kantos from Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences. The topic is Evaluation of Access, Capability, and Evidence-Based Platform of Mongolian Medical Specialists. At 5:47, we have Daiki Kojima from Tokushima University, Anti-Tumor Effects of Blue Light on Malignant Bone and Soft Tissue Tumors. At 5:56, we have Alisher Dodojnov from Irkutsk Medical University. The topic is Importance of English for Learning Medicine. And the last presentation is at 6:05. Naransoda Marsna, Chenchidot Matgir, Sovordarch from Manums. The topic is Medicine Learning Strategies. Let's begin from the first topic. First topic is Ayashika Natsumi. Ayashika Natsumi, can you share the PPT presentation?
Yes, I'm very happy to chair the two persons presentation. As already announced, the title of her presentation is Student Perception Toward Learning Nursing in the Context of COVID-19. How to maintain and promote mental health. Ms. Natsumi Hayashida, please.
Thank you for your kind introduction. Now I will start my presentation. In spring 2020, I entered in the university. The COVID-19 has been going around. People were asked to refrain from going out freely. Even in school and university, they were asked to close. So students forced to study at home. During my university was closed, all of my classes moved to online. In this October, most of my classes turned back to offline class. but I experienced online class.
Miss Hayashida, please stop it. Will participants please turn off the mic? Many other sound disturb the her presentation. Okay, please turn off of the mic. Other participant, it's okay.
Okay. Please,
Please turn off the mic, the other participant, because we cannot hear the presentation.
우리는 지금 미크로폰 소미 하야시다 이러로도 무스카이지.
인칭이 동문칭 미크로폰 나가라.
I hear the background, the noise. The participant, please turn off. Be a mute. Oh, thank you. Now it sounds stop. So,
sorry about that.
Miss Hayashida, please continue to your presentation.
Thank you. So, in this October, most of my classes turned back to offline class, but I experienced online class over a year. From this experience, I felt and learned a lot, especially we can learn under any circumstances. In this speech, I will talk about how we can learn nursing in the context of COVID-19. At first, I will talk about advantages and disadvantages of online class. As merit, the increase of opportunities using ICT. Web conference service such as Zoom and Microsoft Teams can connect students to teachers. And thanks to the ICT, online class could keep at the same quality as offline one. However, at the same time, students have to use ICT carefully. The behavior that students take photo of the screen during the class and post the photo on SNS could invade privacy or copyright. Although students need to acquire media literacy, ICT is useful in the field of education. Another merit is that we could get more free time because we do not need any commute time. Usually, I need 4 hours to go to and back to university, so I could use this leftover time to study English or help my mother to cook dinner. As disadvantages, in this context, students can meet their friends freely, and we have less chance to socialize with people. Unlike other students, nursing students understand the importance of control infection, but sometimes students feel lonely and isolated under such situation. It can lead to lose motivation to learn nursing or doing anything. You must be thinking there are more disadvantages than advantages. However, I think we should continue to run with high motivation to learning nursing. It is difficult to do so, but I think the way to overcome this difficulty is to make most of advantages. Specifically, as I said before, web conference service can provide students opportunities to communicate with each other. Such face-to-face communication brings students a sense of social with people and lessen a sense of loneliness. In online classes, to keep motivation for learning, I think it is a good idea to do group work using breakout session in Zoom. This activity will promote communication among students and be effective in keeping students' motivation. Also, it is a good way to connect friends on SNS. In terms of reduced scale of nursing practice or exercise, we can make up the gap by practicing fundamental nursing skill to our family members at home. For example, to listen to heart sound and lung sounds with a stethoscope. Also, it is useful to have a meeting with senior nurses. What I want to emphasize is the importance of student awareness that actively try to relate with people. I think a sense of interacting with people have a positive effect on students' mental health. ICT enables us to connect with the world easily. This exchange meeting is a good example. Through these opportunities, we can have a cultural exchange with foreign students and broaden our horizons. We are able to make friends who have the same desire to be a nurse. Now, I will talk about online exchange program which I take part in with nursing students in Singapore. In this program, there are about 20 Singapore nursing students and 10 Nagoya University nursing students. The program has started from this September. We made small groups which contain both Singapore and Japanese nursing students and having a presentation. The theme of the presentation is reimagining healthcare. What is your ideal hospital? Also, in addition to the presentation, from September to November, we have been doing some challenges for health every week. Walking, mindfulness, cooking health recipe is an example of the challenges. Through this program, I could learn how foreign students think about healthcare. That is very interesting. Finally, although we were in a difficult situation in the context of COVID-19, everything that I've experienced up to now is what has made me what I am today. I will make use of my experience and overcome the difficulty which may happen in the future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for the valuable information. Because of the time limitation, we will move to the next presentation. And if there's time, we accept the question and comment. Thank you for the good presentation, Ms. Hayashida.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is presenter is Ms. Yuka Nagai. The title of her presentation is the challenge facing globalization of a healthcare system. Do nurses need to develop a competency in the English language? She is a second grade student of Nagoya University School of Nursing. So, Ms. Nagai, please.
I'd like to thank you for your kind introduction. I'd like to talk about nurses need to develop their own English language skills. First, I'd like to talk about why nurses need to develop their own English skills. Today, there are 286,000 foreign residents in Japan. Most of these haven't enough ability to tell in Japanese, or they can't understand and talk Japanese in the first place. According to treatise of all the situation where foreign residents had trouble or discomfort due to not being able to speak Japanese well enough. The one with the highest selection rate was hospital, where 85% of respondents felt that they had difficulty. Moreover, expanding the workplace as a nurse and needing talented persons who work all over the world due to globalization are also reasons. not only working as a nurse at the hospital, but also working as an industrial nurse at companies or office, as a person who studied advanced nursing skills that go to developing countries as a staff of UNICEF or JICA, Japan Overseas Cooperation Frontiers. More and more situations using English will happen, such as teaching how to provide good medical services to people in those countries, teaching advanced skills, and working in clinics to provide medical services for the poor. Of course, English is necessary language to play an active role in foreign countries and need higher level English skills than working in Japan. Next, I'd like to talk about how much English level is needing to. I'll think about nurses working in Japan at first. As I say first paragraph, about 288,000 foreign residents in Japan are living. I think that both the ability to hear and communicate are important in order to provide better care and same support for everyone. For that, it is necessary to accurately understand the words that present the symptoms on the patient's body, such as numbness and chills, and to understand all the words that have multiple ways to say it. Moreover, to get some symptoms from patients or to tell what kind of care they take, so I consider nurses must have a level of English ability that can be communicated to the other person in daily conversation or sentences. If we go all over the world and work with our knowledge and skills as a nurse, we'll need to not only native level English skills, but also the ability to hear and to get some information from patients and to communicate with patients or other medical worker to give medical care for people who can't understand Japanese. Now, most educational institutions that teach nursing in Japan have established English as liberal arts, and when they were in first and second grades, the subject existed. And few universities continue to educate English for 4 years. When we study as English as liberal arts, you'll be not able to learn or strengthen English conversation skills for use in the medical field or strengthen English skills necessary for nursing, such as strengthen reading, comprehension, and presentation skills, not nursing specific content. Even if there is a medical English class, we learn the words, which is name of disease is used in the medical field. It is not always possible for a patient to understand that word, so I consider and propose 3 ideas. First idea is that taking into account the grade and English level will make a lecture where you can learn English conversation skills specialized in nursing. Second one is that learning the etymology of words when learning medical English and what words will be used if they were not used in a medical context. Third one is making an opportunity to get training overseas hospital. How to realize the first idea. As the school year progresses, the number of nursing skills they learn will increase, so role play accordingly. From groups of 4 or so students with an equal number of students with high and low English proficiency, and the group will be divided into based on their English scores in the liberal arts or the result of the test score such as TOEIC or TOEFL. Then assign a role to students. Every student play every role and prepare a script for the patient role. I think this plan has some merit and demerit. There are 2 good points of this plan that are we can practice conversation with patients in English many times, And if we have the words or sentences, what they don't understand by ourselves, and we look up ethnic dictionary by ourselves and study more. However, this plan has a bad point that whether we can have a bilingual or native teacher to teach that or no, and if every student, whether every student can have the same passion or not. If you learn from the etymology, for example, gastralgia, if you divide it into gastro, that means is stomach, and argia is pain. It is used in clinical settings. You give organ names to words representing symptoms. You can learn medical English words efficiently. Also, if you look up the normal way of saying things like gastro is stomach, pain is itami in Japanese in electronic dictionary, you can understand the patient's complaint and easy to explain the disease for patients. I'd like to make an opportunity to practice our skills at overseas hospital. Before go abroad, we prepare for training such as practicing English, practicing nursing care skills, and study about the country where we will go. Moreover, we take a lecture by overseas students studying in Japan because I consider we have to know about trend, manners, and customs of the country. Then we will arrive the site, we study and experience culture of the country. For example, go to the facility that we can experience cultural things. After that, we go hospital and getting a training. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. The time is almost up, but two Japanese present, I have to have another appointment after this conference. So if there is a one or two question, I'm very happy to accept the question now for the two participants, presenters. Are there some question or comments?
Yes,
Yes,
I have
please.
a question. Okay, I have a question from Hashida Natsumi. Okay, and Hashida, what was the general or overall opinion or attitude of your classmates about e-learning?
You're asking is Ms. Nagai or Ms. Hayashida?
Hayashida.
Hayashida.
Hayashida, yes, Hayashida.
Thank you.
What was the overall attitude and opinion of your classmates about e-learning during the COVID-19?
林田さん、何かCOVID-19 が流行して変わったこと、他にありますか？
Yeah, let me see.
Probably the same in your country, Mongolia and Japan. The education is very modified because of the prevention of the COVID-19. So nursing school also is many challenge to provide normal education. That still she felt some the problems. So it's okay to the. Hayashida-san, do you have the comment other than that?
As I said in the presentation, and our bedside training is limited in the context of COVID-19. Is it okay?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you, Hayashida. Thanks for your presentation. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the question and response. So I would like to move next session. So next chairperson, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Hamajima. And I would like to remind all the further participants, other participants, to turn off the microphones of your phones. And I would also like to remind all the presenters, try to keep the schedule in 8 minutes. We have to follow the schedule first. So let's move on. Next presenter is Amina Tsikhpatar. You can start sharing now, Amina.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Amina and I am a freshman of the Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences. And today I will be presenting about the importance of English in the medical field. Okay, I have divided my presentation into 4 parts. The first one is why English, and the second one is the advantages of knowing English. The third one is disadvantages of the language barrier, and fourth one is the conclusion. Okay, why English? English is said that it is a global language, and there are 67 countries where their official language is English and approximately 1.5 billion English speakers worldwide. And English is the most important language in the medical field, I would say. And here are the most spoken languages in the world. And as you can see, English is the most spoken language with 1.5 billion, and the Chinese coming in next with 1.1 billion, Hindi with 600 million, Spanish with 543 million, and Arabic with 274 million. And on this map, I have marked the English-speaking countries, and we all know that the countries Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, they all use English, but however, there are also some certain Asian countries that their official language is English, such as Philippines and Singapore. And next, we will have the advantages of knowing English. First of all, there would be more access of information on biomedical information, and English is a basic necessity to connect with specialists all around the world. And lastly, we can easily communicate with foreign patients. And also, we can hire our education in the medical field all around the world because there are over 7,900 medicine bachelors, over 10,000 medicine masters, and over 900 medicine PhDs taught in English all around the world. And as I have said before about the getting access and more information in the medical field, here are the languages used in the Index Medicus or Medline throughout the years. Medline or Index Medicus is a bibliographic database of life, sciences, and biomedical information. And here are the 3 main languages used throughout the years: English, French, and German. And as you can see, in the last 70 years, the use of English language has drastically increased. And here are all journals listed in Medline by 2007. The purple part is the proportion of journals in the national language, and the blue part is the proportion of English language journals. And as we all can see, Russia, France, China, and Spain don't have a majority of English language journals. However, Italy, Japan, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland have the majority of their journals are in English. And now the disadvantages that will occur when we lack the knowledge of English. First of all, miscommunication with colleagues and confusion with patients due to the language barrier, risks that could lead to irreversible consequences. Most healthcare providers blame the patients for not adhering to proper medical prescriptions. However, oftentimes the language barrier can create a miscommunication with the patient, and this can lead to those consequences. And with lives at stake, words need to have pinpoint precision, because a slight change of meaning in the medical field can have, as I said before, irreversible consequences. And for research, I have asked my 36 classmates about the use of English, and 95% of them agreed that researching information in English guarantees the best results, and 80% of them agreed that they use English when using the search engine Google for scientific purposes. And in conclusion, English is the most important language in the medical field because it connects the professionals, makes it possible to transfer the experience and skills and provide the quality care to patients. And that will be all for my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Presentation from Amina. Okay, let's move on to the next presentation. It is Strodov Zahar. We have Strodov Zahar. So instead of Strodov Zahar, we have a change in the schedule. We now have Marfa Nema. Are you there? What? Your presentation is next. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Okay. Hello, everyone. Let me present you today's newspaper that were written by me, and today's author is Marfa, and my name is Marfa Nema. And today's title is Importance of English for Learning Medicine. And today's purposes are how does English affect for getting knowledge, benefits of learning English, how does English, the global language, is used on a daily basis in some fields, in particular to disseminate the information about its impact on the medical field. And today's keywords are world language, English in medical field, revolution, knowledge, and future medicine. Now, let me tell you the introduction. We communicate every day, every time, right? Communication is key, whether in life or relationship or any other aspect of life. But language barriers usually occur when two people who speak different languages cannot understand one another, and there's a breakdown in language and communication. And today's topics are why English is the world language, what is medicine, revolution of 100 years in medicine, how does English affect in medical field, future medicine, and there will be a conclusion right after that. First of all, why English? English plays an important role in our life. It is understood by many people around the world since it is the most spoken language. It's essential in our education. According to the Wikipedia.com, total English speakers on the world is 1.348 billion. In fact, English is recognized as an official language in 67 different countries. Where is it used? English is the language of our international communication in all areas such as politics, science, media, art, and entertainment. What is medicine? Medicine is the field of health and healing. It includes nurses, doctors, and various specialists. It covers diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of disease, medical research, and many other aspects of health. Now let's take a look at the revolution of technology versus medicine. In 1920, our phone used to look like this, but in the medical field, there were insulin and penicillin were discovered. But in 1918, the telephones have gotten much better. And in medical field, some vaccines were discovered, and such as hepatitis B vaccine. But now in 2000s, our mobile phone did a huge update, and in medicine, scientists completed the draft Human Genome Project and identified and mapped all genes in human. But now in present, technology named phone has big part in our lives. And medicine, on the other hand, we are currently fighting with the COVID-19 in the past years, but research continues to move medical science forward. Now, information is evolving, right? When you study history or literature, a textbook makes sense because the information in those books doesn't change that much over time. But in the other hand, when what you are studying medicine printed on paper book can be outdated almost as soon as it's printed. And this traditional delivery system is unable to keep up with the rapid advances in technology and policy changes that matter to students. And what I'm trying to say about this is that things are changing as well as the medicine. And we need to get this rapidly changing information before it gets old. But in Mongolia, we somehow don't get a lot of information in our own language. That's why we need to learn English for that. So why English is essential to medicine? I asked questions from 30 students. Would you rather go into the library and search through every book or use the technology and a few buttons to research about what you're looking for in a few seconds in English? And 30 students of 27 answered using the technology is better because it saves time. Information on the internet is, if we're talking about how much data is created every day, the current estimate stands at 1.145 trillion megabytes per day. On average, every human created at least 1.7 megabytes of data per second in 2020. And next question was, how many information can you get by using your mother language? And 30 students out of 15 answered not that much and there wasn't any language barrier. If there wasn't any language barrier, they wouldn't have any problems like lack of new information, they answered. By looking at the data and that goes on the internet daily, we cannot translate all of them in our own language, right? So we have to use the internet for that. But where can we get the official and latest news? I would recommend for the medical students and PubMed and CBI and these two sites, KAJSMS. And I would recommend these three sites for the students that are constantly learning and studying and testing themselves. Now let's talk about the future of medical field. First of all, direct consumer genetic testing. Direct consumer genetic testing, aka DTCGT, is an emerging service that allows individuals to have their DNA tested without having to consult a healthcare provider. And second of all, telehealth. Telehealth is the use of digital information and communication technologies such as computers and mobile devices to access healthcare services remotely and manage your healthcare. This may be technologies you use from home or that your doctor uses to improve or support healthcare services. And last but not least, bringing up the AI. Artificially intelligent computer systems are used extensively in medical sciences. Common applications include diagnosing patients, end-to-end drug discovery, development, improving communication between physician and patient, transcribing medical documents such as prescriptions, and remotely treating patients. Now, in the conclusion, in order to get the latest information, if we want to communicate with others and exchange our experiences so that we can be the part of that future medicine, learning English would be the best benefit because it saves time. You can get the endless information and you can talk in global communication. Well, these are my sources that I use today's presentation. And before getting done, I used to dream about becoming a magician when I was a child, but I've realized that working on a medical field is magic. And I hope we can be better magicians of the future. And thank you really much for paying attention.
Okay, thank you, Martwa. Let's move on to the next presenter. Next presenter is Ayutar Satumgilik from Manams. The topic is efficacy of using foreign languages in student studies.
Okay, hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So, hello, good afternoon, dear judges and fellow students. My name is Ayutar Satumgilik, and I'm a student of class number 530, School of Medicine, Mongolian National University of Medical Science. And I'm truly honored to participate today's International Students Conference 2021. And today I would like to present our team's paper titled The Efficacy of Using Foreign Languages in Student Studies and the Learning Difference Between Mongolian and English Courses of Mongolian National University of Medical Science. So concepts are authors, keywords, introduction, purpose, method, result, and conclusion, future work, and reference. So here is the list of our paper's authors. We did this research as a team of Students Research Association of NOS, and I'm the speaker. So in this slide, we can see the keywords, which summarize the main idea of our paper, which were foreign language, efficacy, students, and learning difference. So first of all, I would like to start with the introduction. So learning more than one language is necessary for modern society, especially in medical branch. 43% of world population are bilingual as a result of 2020 research. And competitive market of qualified doctors, bilingual skills can be a key differentiator among job candidates. And also, people who speak more than one language have improved memory, problem solving, and critical thinking skills, enhanced concentration and ability to multitask, and better listening skills. So due to these reasons, we did our research to find following objectives and purpose from future doctors who are medical students. The purpose of our study is to assess the efficacy of using foreign language for medical studies, and the objectives are: first, evaluate the general prevalence of students who use foreign language in their studies. Second, evaluate the efficacy of using foreign language in medical studies. And third, determine the learning differences between English and Mongolian classes of School of Medicine. So for methods, we conducted questionnaire-based survey from students of our university by Google Form from November 14th to November 21st of 2021 by descriptive study method. We gathered up total of 108 participants' data, which include 3 foreign students who are Korean students, and statistical analysis of the study was performed using Windows, Excel 2016, Google Form, and IBM SPSS 26 software. So from here on, I will present the results. So as I said before, there are 3 objectives in our paper. So I will introduce 3 main results following the objectives. So for the school, the students of School of Medicine was the highest by 88%, and total of 90 students were female, which was 93%. And divided by the grade, the 5th grade students were the highest by the 58, and 4th grade students was 29%. 29%. So average GPA from these students is shown in this slide. So for 3rd grade students, the average GPA was 3.31. For 4th graders, the GPA was 3.21. And for 5th graders, the GPA was 3.26. So in this pie chart, we can see the result, summarized result of the question that was, how many years did you study English? So the students who answered 1 to 5 years was the highest by 34%, and the students who answered 6 to 10 years followed secondly by 33%. So using the SPSS 26 software, I did the Pearson correlation test, and this test shows there was a strong positive correlation between year of learning English and students' GPA, and correlation coefficient was 0.87, and which means as year of learning increases, GPA increases. So next result is the summarized result of the answers of the question. Did you attend extracurricular English course? And 54% of the students answered no. But out of the students who answered yes to this question, the most common extracurricular English course was JET School of English. So we asked the English proficiency test, such as TOEFL and IELTS, and the 16% of the students did the test, and we can see the grade result in the right side of the slide. And we did other language tests. 22% of the kids did the other language tests, such as SKK, GLBT, TOPIK, and German proficiency test. So we asked the students, do you use English sources for your study? In this question, 98% of the kids said yes. And in this slide, we can see the most common sources that the students use, such as YouTube, English course books, and English sites, and others such as applications. So 83% of the students answered to this question, do you think studying English is beneficial? And comparison of the average GPA of the students who answered yes or no to this question was beyond our initial expectation. As we can see from here, the students who answered studying from English sources beneficial, GPA was higher. So the next main result of our paper was to compare the English and Mongolian courses of our university. So every last two classes of the whole classes are English courses, which means we do the classes in English, do the homework in English, and we use English all the time. So our team thought that there is a learning difference between English and Mongolian courses. So as we see from here, third grade, the Mongolian course students' GPA was high, and the fourth grade, the GPA was high too. But at the fifth grader, the GPA of the English course students were higher, as we can see from this chart. So as conclusion, students' usage of foreign language was beyond our initial expectation, but we need to increase this result in the future. Our study shows efficacy in medical studies in foreign language, especially in English, leading to confirmation of effective on broad types of studies, since learning medical science is one of the most challenging studies. And we found that fifth English courses, the students had higher GPA, but not other two grades. So future work, in this paper, we studied only one out of a lot of possible factors that affect studying, which was using English, and this can be a limitation of our study too. And in the future, we need to extend our paper by including more participants and study the rest of the factors. And also using this data, we can organize more activities inside of the school to increase in English language learning and usage. So here is the list of the reference, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ayuter. Okay, we will now move on to the last presentation of the first part of the conference. Han Tushik from the fifth grade. This maternal anemia prevalence and risk factors in biology parents.
Thank you. I'd like to start off my presentation by thanking all the participants and the organizers. We're very happy to be part of this conference. Our study is titled Maternal Anemia, its prevalence and risk factors. This was a study performed in Bayelkhand province. Anemia in pregnancy is a major public health problem all around the globe, and this is particularly true in lower and middle income countries. Maternal anemia leads to complications such as maternal mortality, premature birth rate, premature birth, miscarriage, and low birth weight newborns. And this is a major public issue because it is an indicator of both maternal and pediatric healthcare quality. We use the WHO definition, which is 110 grams per liter of hemoglobin or 11 grams per deciliter in venous blood to define anemia. The prevalence of anemia was at a rate of 10.7. And this is a rate that is 2 to 3 times higher than the national average. So this was a very concerning reason. And this is from a 2018 statistic. And although the anemia prevalence was determined in the 5th National Nutrition Study, associated risk factors were not identified. Therefore, our research was necessary to be conducted. Therefore, we aim to identify the prevalence of anemia in Munkh-orgil among the reproductive aged women, as well as to determine the associated risk factors. We had 3 specific objectives in mind. Number 1 was to identify the prevalence of anemia. Number 2 was to identify the association of nutritional, geographical, reproductive, as well as socioeconomic and other related factors with anemia. Number 3, we wanted to calculate based on altitude-adjusted hemoglobin level. And this was, I'll explain why this is very important in the following slides. For our method, our study had 2 stages. The first stage, we used a cross-sectional study design to screen anemia among pregnant women. And this was, again, we used the definition at 11 grams per deciliter. And then the second stage, we used the case control study design. In the second stage, we used the following methods. We had a questionnaire that had 5 groups with 35 questionnaires, which included demographic status, nutrition behaviors, and everything that I previously discussed, as well as current obstetric history. We used laboratory investigations. We used the CBC, hemoglobin level, as well as serum ferritin and iron levels. On top of that, we used a clinical exam, anthropoc measurements, as well as anemia-related signs and symptoms. This would include pica syndromes, as well as brittle nails and pale skins, everything that we can associate and correlate with anemia. There are approximately 2,840 populations or annual births in Munkh-orgil, and to have a confidence interval of 95%, we determined our sample size needed to be 132. Atmospheric density decreases proportionally to altitude, and thus people's oxygen needs are increased accordingly. So residents, as we can see in the western region of Mongolia, among the Altai Mountains, including Munkh-orgil and Huft, live at approximately an altitude of 1,500. So using the WHO measured hemoglobin adjustment, we would miss certain groups of mothers that had anemia. But if we use just the normal definition of anemia, we would miss these. Therefore, we use this calculation to adjust for hemoglobin concentration. Moving on to our results, our prevalence showed a prevalence rate of 8.5, and this is pretty close to the 5th nutritional study. And we analyzed the prevalency of pregnancy anemia among pregnant women who came for their initial prenatal care visit, first in 2019 September. And some were selected by simply a random sampling strategy. And we screened 187 women with the result of 8.5 prevalency. Participants, things to highlight, participants had a family size of 4.7, and a significant portion, as we can see, were unemployed, and the house income was also very below average at approximately 0.72 million, which was below the national average, we would say. And result 2, this part reflects and surveys the diet for iron-rich foods. And kazi meat is kaz. It's a salt-rich dried horse meat commonly consumed by the Kazakh population. Among participants, women who did not eat red meat on a daily basis had a 1.64% higher risk of having anemia during pregnancy compared to mothers that ate red meat on a daily basis. And this was also associated with the difference of people in the Kazakh and Munkh-orgil region eating halal meat. So, and also another thing to note was that iron storage levels were lower in women who were multiparous, who had given birth multiple times. And this was particularly true and women who gave birth more than 3 times. Furthermore, future studies should address the clinical relevance of altitude adjustment in anemia. Here we see that anemic mothers we had a total of 24 in both Tingle and Ojison. But if we adjusted the previously discussed hemoglobin level by altitude, we had missed around 14 people. We missed 14 mothers, and they would have gone untreated basically. So it's very important to calculate based on the adjusted hemoglobin level. And the significance of our study and the innovative side was that we were the first to integrate this altitude adjustment and the diagnostic of anemia in Mongolia. So we are highlighting that it's particularly true and very necessary, very significant to integrate this into the regular diagnostics of anemia in Mongolia. And the limitations of our study were that we identified anemia on a screening level. The gold standard for iron deficiency in anemia is to use serum transferrin and soluble transferrin receptor levels. And we also didn't make adjustments based on smoking status amongst our participants. So for our conclusion, the prevalence of pregnancy anemia was 8.6 in Bangladesh, with altitude adjustments made significant difference in our anemia diagnostics, and skipping red meat was also very significant, as well as iron depletion being particularly higher in multiparous women who had given birth more than 3 times. We'd like to acknowledge the following: the Department of Public Health and Ministry of Health, their help and all in our study. We also thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Hantushik. Okay, that was the last presentation for the first part of the conference. Now, the discussion part of the first presentations will begin. If you have any extra questions from the presenters, you're welcome to ask.
Can I ask? Can I ask?
Yes, of course.
Okay. The first question from Marathwa. That's your presentation and your pronunciation is very good, and I feel very nice. And that's why I have one question. Where did you study English, and how many books and English articles read in English? For example, 1 or 2 examples to talk to us. And the second question from Oyunder. Why this GPA lower group in 5th grade? Why? And last question from Hantushik. Did you perform your research alone or with teammates? Please introduce your research teammates. And is it first time in Mongolia, or why your team concluded the first time in Mongolia?
Okay. First of all, I learned my English when I was 6 years old. My sister taught me my very first ABCs, and from then on, I learned it by myself. And I read articles about medicine when I was in 10th grade, and I always read about articles such as human genome, like that, as you can see the presentation, right? And I was always interested in science and technologies. That's why that led me to study in the Mongolian National University of Medical Science as a biomedical student. And yes, that's my one and only interest in science. Thank you for asking that.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you for asking a question, Dr. Tamunjin. So my question was why GPA is lower in 5th grade. So we didn't do this study. We didn't know how to say do this survey to how to say define the causes of the lower GPA, but in my opinion, there are several causes that affect to this lower 5th grade GPA. So first one is the number of the subjects increases as grade increases. Second, the difficulty of the subjects, in other words, classes increase too, which means the how to say now the class is going to be more difficult to get more good grades, and also teachers are kind of more stricter than being at the 1st and 2nd grader. So it's really hard to take good grade. And fourth reason that I thought was some of the kids have, some of the students, how to say, create their own family and have kids. And because of that, their responsibilities begin to increase. So their focus on the study decreased a little bit too. So these are the reasons I thought of, but we're gonna do the study of this one in the future too. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I agree with you.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for the question, Dr. Tuminjin. And now I will answer our question. The first question is, we did this investigation under the Professor Chimi Tsurung and collaborating with some doctors in working in the bilingual province, such as including the Dr. Aigul and any other doctors. And the second question is, this is exactly a study in per measuring aptitude adjustment.
Okay, is it the first time in Mongolia, right?
Yeah, this is the first time in Mongolia for measuring aptitude adjustment in hemoglobin concentration.
No. I just asking your conclusion. Written the first time in Mongolia. I think it's not first time in Mongolia, I think. I'm just asking your conclusion.
In conclusion is there is no one is first, and Professor Ayo, I forgot his name. About this altitude adjustment is this is not 2021. We did this measure in the 2019 year, and it was first in Mongolia and 2 years ago. And Professor Ortgerd is same idea with me. He is a professor of hematology.
Okay.
And she told us it was the first and could help in the investigation.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for your question.
Okay, thank you for the questions.
Okay, I got another question.
Okay.
Sorry, I want to ask a question. Yeah, there. Sixth factor, are there? All right. You you talked a lot about benefits of English.
Who's the question from?
Amina?
Amina, okay.
Yeah. So, Amina talked about benefits, advantages and disadvantages of learning English. As I want to know, why do we need to study English? Specifically, I just want to ask, why can't we replace a machine with a translator, or like a Google translator, instead of just learn English? Why don't we just use the machines like translator?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yes, we could use a translator. However, in the medical field, there are many medical terminology that cannot be misspelled or even misspoken. So I believe that even if we use a translator, it won't be 100% efficient and it won't be as useful. So I believe that the specialists should learn English. That is my answer to that question. Thank you.
Right. Thank you for answering the question.
Sorry, can I ask one more question?
Of course.
Okay. Amina, can I ask you one question? What do you think, how important English in your study in medicine? Can you tell me just freely?
Okay. In my study in medicine, currently I am a freshman, so there are a lot of things that I don't know. Some medical terminology or even anatomy is really hard for me. So in order to help myself with the studies, I usually spend my time online watching videos, Googling the information, and I always use English. So I think that will conclude your question.
Okay, thank you. Your accent also very nice.
Thank you.
Okay. Any additional more questions?
Okay, let me ask one question, okay? Okay, first of all, I wanted to thank everyone. Everyone's presentation was so interesting. Hantushka and Dorch Fatma, I wanted to ask you one question. Do you hear me? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you recommend any kind of food for pregnant women? Just, it's so interesting. Can you mention or can you recommend any kind of food?
It's exactly for a Kazakh origin or any other pregnancy woman. Professor Tumrik, we recommend all of the pregnancy women or only Kazakh origin for.
Yeah, maybe Kazakh origin, yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah.
It is very difficult because due to the religions, Kazakh origins, women are using the different meat. In Mongolia, it's skipping the red meat is a significant risk factor in anemia. And this is one of the difficult situations. And secondly, there this nice. And secondly is we can recommend the egg or cause it can be more supporting in the iron deficiency, and this is one of the recommended foods.
Okay, thank you. And how many people involved in your research? Only two of you, or maybe you had some supervisor? Do you have any supervisor for your research?
Yeah, our supervisor teacher is Professor Chimitsurun, and our we are including the 187 participants for screening anemia in the first stage. In our methodology has two stages. And first stage we just screen the anemia. These are including 187 participants, and the second stage is case control stage, and we take the 53 participants on the case control group.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. have one question from Ayuter. Ayuter, so we have been studying at the English class for the last 3 years, right?
Yeah.
The study was mostly about comparisons. What do you think, how would you improve the program in the future? Like, would you improve the testing methods? Would you improve the more teachers? Would you want to improve the course books? In terms of future guessing, how would you make it better? I just want to hear your opinions on the matter.
And the beneficial for the English course students.
Yes.
Okay, so I had several ideas about that one. Since the English course students are in the 3rd year of studying in the English school course, but we have a lot of problem. So one of the ways that to fix the problem is that we want to have the English curriculum book, because like how does the teacher prepared the tests from the Mongolian book and translated the tests to the English. And at the process of the translation, the process is not that good. Translation is not that good. So we do not understand the test fully. So we mostly do the test wrong. So when we read from the foreign like how to say course books, it's really hard. The level of the level is too hard, so it's how to say we're gonna take a lot of time to read and understand the topic of the English books. But we read when we have time. But how to say, even though we read those how to say English books, we already have the Mongolian book to read and to give the test. So sometimes it's really hard to manage those two things at the same time. And second, the I don't want to say this, but some of the teachers' English, how to say the that one skill is not that good in some areas, so it's hard to understand. But still, we understand and try to make the conversation better. So the yeah, and third way so the second way would be to improve the English.
Can you single out one aspect that could be easily rectified?
Yeah, I want to put the English book into our curriculum.
Books.
And I want to give the tests from that English books, not from the Mongolian translated tests.
I see.
So,
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we are ending the discussion section for the first part. Does anyone have any extra questions? So we will move on to part 2. Okay, first presenter for part 2 is Kakoi Nakai from Tokushima University. Kakoi, no one will be left behind for sustainable cities and communities. Do we have Kakoi Nakai? Okay.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay. This is most difficult word to pronounce for me. Oroen Mendo, right? Okay.
Right,
Thank you.
Ramit?
Yeah. Okay. Let me briefly introduce myself. I'm 21 years old. This is my profile. I have a strong interest in preventive medicine and orthopedics. Also, I've had great experiences with the VR community. I can share the details if you contact me. If you search Facebook for Koga Nakai, you can send me a message. Today's presentation theme is no one will be left behind in sustainable cities and communities. So let me explain my topic. The reason why I focused on sustainable cities is my grandmother, the left picture. She has scared of working outside because she has experienced falls in the street. It made her stay home because of fear for falling, has resulted in degrading working abilities. Can you believe that she cannot work, although she can work? Before I started my research, I calculated how many elderly people have falls when walking in the street. It is over 1 million every year in Japan. If you look at this table, you can see the third highest reason for requiring help and care is falls and fractures. Falls are just incidents, but that might change people's life strongly. As previous research shows, there are several reasons for falls, such as walking aid use, vertigo, and Parkinson's disease. Among them, I focused on road for sustainable cities. Firstly, I researched where is dangerous in Tokushima City by myself. Tokushima City is where I live. There are lots of dangerous points even in my small city. However, it is difficult because it is different from persons and their backgrounds where it's dangerous to work or move. So I decided to correct the dangerous points from citizens around Japan across application. This is the application, what I made. Just by taking photos on road, you can share the dangerous point with pictures and review. Also, to correct data automatically, not rely on people's works, I have shed light on the third ASIC data accelerator by using technology to detect falls. I can get dangerous point on road automatically. To detect falls, we need 4 characteristic wave shapes. The first, weightlessness, the second, impact, the third, motionless, the fourth, initial status. To test whether this is suitable for detecting data, I tried several times. Then, some cases, it didn't work. So my hypothesis is the digital accelerometer is affected by road conditions and mobile position, like on hand, in back, or in the pocket. I need to know the relationship between the wave shapes of detecting falls and mobile positions. To make it clear is my next research topics. I hope this research will apply for road maintenances and reducing the dangerous points on road. My goals is no one left behind. That means environment which adapt diversity. I want to create walkable streets by preventing falls. Lastly, I would like you to the SNS account which correct dangerous points through direct message. Please follow this and send the dangerous points in Mongolia. This is QR code. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, the topic is evaluation of access capability to evidence-based platform of Mongolian medical specialists. And a little about me is, my name is Irtuntux. I'm second-year medical student at Mongolian National University of Medical Science, and I study as a physician. And my hobby is I really enjoy playing basketball, and I had recruited to a basketball team, my university basketball team, when I was in the first grade. And I think that basketball really taught what is win and what is lose, and taught me how to work as a team and what can be achieved working as a team. Especially, it's very crucial in our medical field. So I think it's very big advantage for me. Also, I pet a pigeon in my window. 2 years ago, I suddenly petted one pigeon, but that pigeon started coming to my window every day. So the pigeon become non-home existing pet for me. The keyword is globalization, medicine, language barrier, and quality care. For presentation, I wanna say a quote of Janik Robertson, the identification of the globalization. Globalization is a process of great integration with the world economy throughout the movements of goods and service, knowledge, technology, discoveries, and medicine, with the lead increasingly to the country decisions being influenced by global condition. What I'm trying to say is that globalization is the future main engine of our humankind. So we are no longer locked in our territory, and our knowledge and research will be unlimited due to the globalization. The background is as a science and advanced around the world, new discoveries are being made throughout the world, and range of diagnosis, treatments, legalizations, and methods, especially a new way of treating patients are being discovered. As a result, the quality of treatment and diagnosis is also improving, and the doctors and medical professionals to keep up the pace with the rest for health. So what we have to do is we have to be in the pace of globalization. To be in the pace in the globalization, we have to connect and interact with each other. And to connect and interact with each other, we have to at least have main language or the way of communicating each other. So why should doctor have English? English may not be the key aspect of doctor, but it's crucial of being doctor to know English, because there's a lot of research and new discoveries are made. So you have to charge your brain with all those knowledge to treat the patients. Okay, the background is clinical guideline. In our country, clinical guidelines are approved by the Ministry of Health and made available to doctors, and discoveries are evident and made available to doctors. But this has one disadvantage, because all the guidelines and approaches are made by one physician, one specialist, or some group of specialists. And those guidelines may not be applied to the real world situation. So what our Ministry of Health trying to do right now is to platform evidence-based research platform that can apply and that can be accessed, anyone can access to it. And the goal is to provide evidence platform with quality, with the research and with right regulation for the health sector. And the platform was the up-to-date. And as you can see at the right side, this is the legalization that our Ministry of Health released, and in this legalization, they are saying that the approaching to up-to-date, we will improve our quality care and improve our specialist education. The reason why up-to-date was, first of all, it was easy to use among the other up-to-date or other medical platforms, and it had wide range of topics with the graphic and the illustration, and had comparison or information about drug interactions. Also, it has statistics, and last but not least, it was available in mobile phone, which is easy to transfer or easy to use on a different side of location, I'd say. And the purpose is to determine the language barrier and evaluate accessing the methods, identify the classification of users' role in medical field. What is the meaning of that? Identify the classification of user role is that what type of specialists are usually to know what kind of specialty or what kind of people are accessing to this platform. The method was started in 2020 December until 2021 September. Participated 732 specialists, including all 21 provincial, and had asked 4 questionnaires. The survey was conducted by Google form, and the result presented by percentage, which means divided by 100. And 4 questionnaires. First one is which medical specialty you are. What are the benefits of using up-to-date platform? Do you use up-to-date platform regularly or not? The reason why you don't use up-to-date platform regularly, and what's the difficulty? Also, to identify the due diligence participants, we can have access what type of specialties and category of people are accessing or using this platform. The first question is which medical specialty you are. In this pie chart, we can see that 49% were the medical doctors and 31% were nurses. And by looking at this, we can see the Mongolian medical field ratio of nurses and doctors is being in an average. Also, what are the benefits of using up-to-date? This is one of the most crucial questions, because we can see that 54.9% said that it improves the knowledge, and 70% chose that it improves the quality of healthcare system. Also, 14.6% chose that it saves the timing. But in the next question, it was different, because we can see that 49.4% don't use the up-to-date platform. 9% told that they signed, but they didn't use it. And 22.4% told that they use in their free time, or sometimes they use to get some knowledge. Only 5.4% use it up-to-date platform regularly. So the last question was the reason why you don't use up-to-date platform. The reason why they did not use the platform was that 38.1% told that incapable of understanding, which means they had some kind of language barrier, and 26.1% told that there is no internet connection to access. And by looking at this pie chart, we can see that 3% of all specialties in medical field having trouble in language, having a language barrier and having trouble to access to platform due to the lack of internet connection. So by improving the language barrier, minimizing the language barrier and improving the internet connection, we can improve our medical specialist knowledge and care system. Also, by registered access insights, we can see that 57% registered in PC or stationary computer, and 43% used on a mobile app.
Can you hear me? The time is nearing. Please try to make the presentation a little bit shorter.
Sorry. It's about to end right now. So what I'm trying to say in conclusion is that by improving our language, minimizing the language barrier and improving the connection of internet, we can improve our medical care system, because majority of specialists had language barriers. So if we improve their language, we could improve our medical fields, medical care system, and can treat patients more better with higher life percentage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tendus and Kobe. The microphone was off previously. Professor Naram, do you have a question?
Of course, I have a question. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I have a question. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much to do this kind of research work. And secondly, I would like a question.
The discussion time for the presentation is after the talks. So if you have questions from the presentations, after 3 presentations.
Okay.
So the next presenter is Daiki Kojima from Tokushima University. Okay.
Okay. So can you see the slide?
You can see it.
Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone. Sign by nu. My name is Daiki Kojima. I present the anti-tumor effect of blue light on malignant bone and soft tumor tissue. In Tokushima University, we have to study laboratory work in half of years when we are third year student in medical course center. I choose motion function study lab that's called orthopedics.
Please, your presentation full screen, make it full screen.
Yes. We can't see the presentation full. Make it full screen.
Full screen?
Yes.
Sorry.
The presentation is half on the screen. Can you make it bigger? You can't see it. Okay. Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
That one. That full screen.
Full screen? No, sorry. なってないんか。どうしよう。共有してるんだ。それ一旦今日停止して。共有してるんだ。Yeah, that is it's small screen.
The right side and the down and right side, there is one sign. You have to
小島君、スライドショーにしてみてください。
スライドショー、はい。ちょっと待ってください。いけますか？
で、最初からを選んでください。
Yes.
Is it okay, everyone?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. 小島君、最初から始めてください。
Okay. スライドしよう。
ありがとうございます。村沢さん。村沢さん。
はい。
Okay, I'll start. We present alternative effect of light on malignant bone and soft tissue tumors. And in Tokushima University, we have to study laboratory work in half of years when we are third year student. And I study there for 6 months, and I would like to present my research. This is background. What is a treatment of malignant bone and soft tissue tumors, so-called sarcoma? That is extensive reaction is the basis for tumor is each surrounding tissue. There are few effective adjunctive therapies such as chemotherapy and radiotherapy, and degrees in RED due to surgery can be avoided. The image of the right shows the image of the 13-year-old girl. She has osteosarcoma in the distal femoral, and the tumor itself appears to be located inside the femoral distal. But the tumor must be extensively removed for each knee joint. Although it is a young person, it must be replaced with an artificial knee joint, and degrees the leg function does not escape. And the incidence for cancer per 10 million population called moderately exceed the tumor the tissue tumor, the sarcoma is a rare cancer, and the problem is that the development of new treatments to replace is delayed because the frequency of occurrence is extremely small and systematic research is difficult to proceed. In recent years, there have been reports of blue light irradiation using light emitting diodes and LED lights as a light source has a tumor effect on various malignant tumor cells, such as malignant melanoma, malignant lymphoma, rectal cancer, and so on. And therefore, I came up with the idea of how bright irradiation is for sarcoma. The purpose is this study is to examine the tumor effect of light on sarcoma in vitro. The method. The sarcoma cells used were SAR2, human osteosarcoma, and SWS72 human lymphosarcoma cells. It was calculated under 5% and 37 temperature, and using a DEME medium content and 10% FPS, and using also 35 millimeter dishes and cells seated at the third power power 5.10 were calculated 24 hours, and using the LED device for the in vitro shown in the figure. Blue light irradiation was performed under condition with a wavelength of 460 nanometers. Cells proliferation assay were performed 0 hour and 36 hours and 72 hours. After blue light irradiation using cell counting kit 8. The result. The left side of the bar graph is osteosarcoma cell SAO2, and the right side of the SW872 sarcoma, lymphoma. The control compares the blue light irradiation and shows the absorbance by the microspray reader over time. Both were compared with control after 36 hours of blue light irradiation, and the growth inhibitory effect was recognized. It is a consideration, and in micrographs, the inhibitory effect of sarcoma cells SAO2 were clear. It is a consideration. The in vitro study found the anti-tumor effect of light on sarcoma cells. This can be expected for new treatments for sarcoma by reducing the tumor by expected to preserve the tumor by irradiation. The range of surgical resection can be reduced, if not radiationally. As a result, it is expected to preserve the limbs and extend the cervical period. In the future, it is necessary to the mechanism to find mechanism the tumor effect of light, and to also find the signaling pathway leading to cell death. There are already some reports on the cell death system is apoptosis or necrosis or autophagy, and there are already some reports or other carcinoma, but there are still many under points. Then it is planning to move to in vivo research. It is needed because we research only in vitro, so we have to start in vivo research and examine the effect of in vitro using mouse and advanced research with a view to clinical application in the future. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Taki Kojima. Let's move on to the next presentation. It is Alisher Tojanov from Irkutsk Medical University. Dejna, please turn on the microphone. Please.
It's my pleasure to present my work International Scientific Conference. At first, I would congratulate the Department of Foreign Language of Mongolia National University of Medical Science with 60th anniversary. Thank you for organizing such a conference that brings together people from different parts of the world at now. Also, would like to express my words of support to our Mongolian students who, due to the pandemic, still cannot return to the walls of their native university. I won't say that I am specified in electrocardiogram, and I have research work on the search course of medical university, and my hobby is translating medical articles in English. The 21st century is the age of information technology, when the power of thought is reborn into technical miracles. Technologies are developing by giant strides, and today the volume of information in the world is growing exponentially. Nowadays, the information has acquired an extremely important value. Whoever owns the information owns the situation. It's worth emphasizing that English is the language of the international scientific community, in particular in medical community. In such a rapidly developing world, the person needs tools for orientation. Knowledge of English is one of those. This kind of tool is extremely important and necessary for professional development. The issue is particularly acute now in the era of a global pandemic, when the latest information on COVID-19 is published in English. Medical professionals who speak English effectively apply their knowledge at the forefront in the fight against COVID-19. With the internet development and the growth of the information volume, scientific and technological progress has very accelerated. The level of medicine now and say 30 years ago are two completely different pictures of the world. The information space has expanded significantly during this time. The purpose is to show the possibilities of developing English language skills by the translating articles, example from the world leading sources of information. Initially, you need to get access to the resource. It's there, but it's limited in places, and according to the special decree, all higher educational institutions in Russia, for example, have access to world's leading suppliers of information products as part of national subscription. First of all, the Elsevier publishing house is meant. By the way, writing one article in Scopus gives a student an additional 15 points for admission to residency. There are quite a lot of methods, but as already mentioned above, the process is much more interesting when knowledge is applied in practice, and with the help of this tool, new knowledge is obtained in the area of interest to us. You can endlessly study grammar, increase your vocabulary on various topics, but have difficulty in obtaining new knowledge. And the acquisition of this knowledge is carried out directly in practice by translating information products, articles, books, monographs, and etc. Therefore, in my opinion, the most optimal solution would be to engage in translation with possible synchronization of the article themes for translation with a study plan. For example, a student has a cycle of therapy, and you need to get information in English from English language sources. It's worth emphasizing that such information is also the most recent. All that a student needs for this is a smartphone or computer and an internet connection, which almost every student has today. By the way, they say that in Mendeley, one of the sources has the possibility of compiling of biography according to Ghost. That is, these resources also help to design scientific works. It's also worth paying attention to books publishing by foreign publishing houses. They are more graphically decorated. They have many colored pages with drawing and diagrams. The text goes in 2 columns, which is convenient for reading. They contain a text extraction of the topic. That is, a whole group of art designers is working on the book. According to the Web of Science, more than 500,000 scientific publications on medical sciences are published annually in the world. Many scientific journals in the era of global pandemic have provided free access to all information published on the subject of COVID-19. Media resources also help in the development of language skills. Movies, TV series, medical students are always busy people who almost always have to combine the useful with the pleasant. One of these activities is watching movies, TV series in English, with or without subtitles, depending on the level of proficiency. And the results. As a result, the students' vocabulary in the relevant medical sections increases significantly, improves the skill of constructing sentences in scientific texts, appears the ability to appropriately use medical terms in a scientific text, which simplifies the writing of scientific articles in the future, and in general improves the skill of searching for actual information on medical topics. In conclusion, I would like to say that the future of a person is in his hands. The success of a specialist, in particular in a medic, is largely determined by the volume of his competence, the ability to keep abreast of the latest developments in his field. It's necessary not only to be aware of the latest scientific achievements, but also to be able to use them in your practice. Such activity of a medical worker will help not only to be aware of current problems in medicine, but also possibly lead to new discoveries in medicine. Then there will be no end of patient gratitude. It's worth remembering that time is valuable resource that cannot be returned and should be used rationally. And thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Alisher Tadashnev. Okay, let's move on to the next presenter. Aran Safang Amasna, Chanchip Munkh-orgil, Sugartorch Tawadarch from Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences, Medicine Learning Strategy.
Okay, hello there. I am Nara Safang. I am glad to be presenting to you today. And I am from class 101 from the Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences. And I collaborated with two of my classmates, Jenchuk Tutum and Sugartorch. And the three of us together worked in groups. And now I am ready to present our work for the last few days now. And the topic of the presentation is medical learning strategies. And today's keywords are learning, strategy, medical students, the SQ3R method, and the Pomodoro method. Today's purpose is to spread awareness to people who have never heard of the SQ3R method and SQ3R learning method, and help students study more effectively with the method. So according to our little survey we did, most of the respondents are first year freshmen, and 33% of them aren't happy with their study session results. And how can we reduce this number? It's a big number and so that's when we use the SQ3R method. And what exactly is the SQ3R method? And we asked this exact same question from the participants, and almost half of them have never heard of the SQ3R method, and the other half who knows it to some extent barely even uses them. And the ones who use them didn't 45% of them found them very useful, while 30% of them didn't find them useful. This is supposed to be one of the most useful study strategies this is supposed to be one of the most effective study strategies, but why is 30% of the people isn't satisfied with the results of this? So we looked into this, and apparently the SQ3R method was found by Francis P. Robinson in 1946, which means the SQ3R method has been around for decades, and it has 5 steps in general: survey, question, read, recite, and review. So this brings into question how the university's students study, and most students prefer studying, get a better understanding of the topic by by teaching others, being taught by others, by looking at it, by visualizing it, by taking notes. But why is it not? Why is one of the most high quantity answers is not in the SQ3R method? So after this, and two doctors, Mike and Maddie, produced a new, modified the SQ3R new method and changed the 3 R's in it to rephrase, recall, and repetition. Okay, now into the method. The first step is to do a survey. The reader should quickly flip through the chapter to identify the general idea and formulate questions about the contents of the chapter. So basically, you just skim through what you are about to learn to get the general idea of what you are about to receive in your brain. So it gets easier for you to learn. For example, looking at headings, bold words, key items, pictures, and diagrams. And the second step is, after looking at these, you form a question about the context after reading. When you read with a purpose, you have a better understanding of what you are learning than just reading without a purpose. For example, you could generate a question like, what is this chapter about? What question is this chapter trying to answer? And how does this information help me? And now that you have the questions, you have a purpose while you're reading, whereas you have a better understanding of when you answer the questions. And now that you have the answers to the questions that you generated, you take notes and rephrase it in your own words. Rephrasing is a easier way to understand, which is basically repeating the information in different words. And if you cannot rephrase it, you did not understand the information well because you didn't do well. And now that you can rephrase the information, that means you understand the information, and now you need to recall the information. And by recalling, try to answer the questions you formed in phase 2 and without keep peeking or treating it again. And flashcards are highly recommended in this phase because you should write the question in the front phase and the answer in the back. So when you look at the question, you try to answer it, and if you can't answer the question, you turn the flashcard around, and now you can see the answer to the question. And it helps. Why the recall method is why recalling is more effective than the other one is because it helps you study in the exact way that you will be tested in the future. And the 5th step is repetition. To practice on questions that made in step 2 and recall its information over and over again, and it helps us further solidify information in your memory. For example, let's say you learned this new information today and you recall it today, and then tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, the week after, a month after, and as time goes by, the information in your head, the brain starts to think that if this information is essential for you and automatically stores it into the long-term memory, which causes it to not forget it that easily. And now that you know the SQ3R new method, you could combine it with other methods for better results. For example, we've asked the respondents, have you ever heard of the Pomodoro method? And how of them never heard of it. And what the Pomodoro method is studying for a set amount of time and taking a break for a set amount of time, and it helps the effectiveness of the study session. And in conclusion, study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that takes in, is what Leonardo da Vinci said. And thank you for the attention.
Okay, thank you, Long. Thank you for the presentation. So now we will move on to the discussion part of the second part of the conference. If you have questions from the presenters, you can ask now.
Yeah, can I ask?
Okay.
Okay. I have questions, many questions. The first presenter, Nakai, Nakai, how many sustainable streets in your Tokushima city?
Very difficult question. It is difficult to count the number, but compared to other countries, Japan is walkable country, I think, but that is not for everyone.
Okay, thank you. Because I studied in your university. That's why I know your city and that the streets. That's why I'm asking. And how about Tokushima Station Street? Is it sustainable or it's okay?
Yeah, I think it's okay, but I don't know how to say English. Like,
you can speak in Japanese and I can understand it, I think.
Okay, but I'm trying to speak English.
Yeah.
Do you know the yellow block for yellow block on the street, and some of them is blocked. So that is, I think that is big problem for like people who can't see.
Okay, thank you. And next question from Irtem Tux. This up-to-date application, I agree with your PPT and all of this presentation, but I have one question. It's a quite different question, just I'm asking. How many students have to speak English in your basketball team in Mongolian National University of Medical Science?
I think that's not so crucial because basketball is all about the understanding each other. So we communicate each other with Mongolian language, but sometimes in the practice we write the video about the college basketball plays and NBA plays. So sometimes there's some basketball terms in, for example, ball side or screen or pick and pop. Some terminologies we use in English. So yeah.
Okay, and I saw you many times in our sport room, and that's why I'm asking that how many students can speak English in your team? The many
majority of them can, because we all watch NBA and we all have some basic platform of English. So I think maybe all of them, maybe, yeah.
All of them can speak English, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, good, nice. And next question, Kojima. Please introduce your research team and professor name.
Oh, professor
also,
name.
Yeah, sorry. Also, do you have read Professor Shimada's article about LED on cancer cell lines?
My professor is Dr. Takeuchi. Maybe you don't know. And my lab top teacher is teacher Sairyo, Professor Sairyo teacher. Yeah.
Have you ever read about the article LED on cancer cell line with Professor Shimada's team? Do you understand me?
Could you say that again? Shimada's team?
Yeah, Professor Shimada is studying cancer.
Oh.
In your Tokushima University.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know the Professor Shimada?
Yeah.
Because
what
all
you said, so, I don't know the word
yeah,
in English. So
already the Professor Shimada
I don't know. I don't know.
studied.
I know. I know.
Sorry. Please listen to me. Professor Shimada already published LED on cancer cell line. Have you read that article?
Gastro
Yeah.
surgery.
Yeah, digestive cancer.
Or gastrointestinal surgery, and I don't read the his public. Yeah.
Okay, you didn't read about that articles, okay? Yes? Okay, please read that many articles about this LED because it is a Nobel Prize and your university is very famous this study field. Okay, next question. Alicia, does your university use English textbooks? And if that's English textbooks using in your university, how many percent of that textbooks in English?
Thanks for your question.
Yeah.
We have foreign students from the practical whole world, so in particular from India, from the countries of Africa, and their study is full on English, and we have a big library which has a department of foreign literature, and our university has access to the international publishing houses, and our university buys keys to the accessions of such houses, and this work is in the front of how to say in the progress.
Sorry, where are you from?
I'm from Tajikistan, and I study in the Irkutsk in Siberia, and I am very glad for this fact. I think that the process of globalization leads us to such a moment that there's no difference where you study now. We have similar phones. We use this one internet, and with one similar articles.
Okay. Another one question. There is a difference. Are there difference foreign students and Russian students to read textbooks? I mean, there is a difference or no?
No, there is no difference. If you wish read textbooks on English or another language, for example, we have also French and German language.
Also Russian, right?
Also Russian. I study on Russian. My native language is Tajik, but I study on Russian, and I have publication on English. And you return to question. We have you have access. It's no depends on your depends on your how to say study language. You can study on English and have access to the English language literature.
Okay, great.
Also textbooks.
Okay, great. Thank you. And next question. Narusofen. do you follow or use this SQ3R method? Or how often you use that? Do you understand me? Just I'm asking.
I do.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a freshman, and when I first came into the school, the pressure of all the subjects was so insane. I was a mess. So I started looking for methods to for effective studies, and I found the SQ3R study, and I tried it. It was effective. I try to use it as much as possible because I personally think, for my case at least, it's very useful and it is very effective. It helps me memorize information better than I used to memorize things like 10 weeks ago. So I think it's pretty effective. I use them pretty often.
Okay. It sounds very nice but method name is a little bit complicated. It's like molecular biological study, something like that. But actually, it's very simple way to study strategy on the first grade students, I think. And good luck, the guys, your team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the wonderful questions, Professor Tuminjin. Okay, let's continue the discussion part. Alon, any more additional questions?
Okay, I wanted to ask Alicia. That's correct? Is my pronunciation is correct? Alicia, could you tell me your name and Alicia Dodojano, is it right? Could you tell
Yes,
me
it's
Russian? Yeah? Could you tell?
It's right, Alicia Dodojano.
Okay, very good. Okay, my question is, do you have any English classes at your university?
Yes, we have a 3-year English program in our university. It's a part of professional training. And we will graduate it and then take a diploma, a certificate.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's I follow to this program. I'm on the third year now, on the third course. And it's a very how to say, interesting experience for the student. I study on Russian, speak with my friends on Tajik, and learn English articles. It's interesting, I think.
Okay, your English is so good. Your English is so good, and your paper was also very good. Yeah, and your English is a compulsory. Every student should learn English at your university.
Yes, all students pass exam after the first course.
Okay.
In English, it not depends upon your study language. All Russian students also pass, all Mongolian students also pass such exam.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank for you.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask another one question from Kojima Daiki. Are you there, Kojima?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is sarcoma is common in your country?
Yeah, rare cancer.
Really?
Not common. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In Mongolia, also different types of cancer is very common, especially gastric cancer and the liver cancer is very common in our country. Yeah. Yeah, it's maybe all. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, maybe Nara also, maybe you want to ask a question, yeah? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Professor Tumra. Go ahead, Professor Manager.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I wanted to ask a question for Erdem Togus and Gan Togus. I would like to say for all of you, thank you very much doing this kind of research work. And my question is, before to get the result, what was your prediction? Please tell us difference between prediction and result. Thank you very much.
The prediction was okay. The prediction was that we thought that all of 21 provincial had the access, at least the access of internet connection to platform, but it comes that 22% of them had no internet connection due to the lack of stationary problem or some devices, for example, like due to lack of mobile devices or internet connection. So that was shocking because we thought we're living in 21st century, but having not able to connect to internet was something not expected. But this is like the section of that we can improve, because if we just give all the medical professional or medical specialists the opportunity to connect to internet, we might improve the medical healthcare service. For example, if there's any cases, unusual case in just example, for example, Darmstadt, some specialty or doctor living in Mongolia, living in Ulaanbaatar can easily connect to Darmstadt and can give some advice or treatment methods. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for that question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the questions and answers. Do you have additional question, Professor
Yes,
Nara?
okay. Okay, so I want to ask a question from Nakai Koga.
Koga.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so I think I find your application, your new innovation very useful in Mongolia. And in Mongolia, usually we report that kind of potholes and broken parts of pets using Facebook group, especially designed for it. And I just my question is, how do you link your application? I mean, do you link your application to social platforms like this, or what channels do you use to make your application known to people?
Okay. You can't download this application now because this is test version, just prototype, and I will launch it in December. So, and in December you can download this, and I can send you that link. So, please, if you can tell me email or like Facebook, I can send you. And as you said, this application is used all over the world. So I want to reach also Mongolia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I got your email. Okay, I hope you have mine too. So thank you very much for sending me your link. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the questions and answers. Okay, if there's any additional questions, still have some time. Okay, one question from Kogai, from me. Kogai, so what is the best way to finance your solution for the roads? for irregularities, like fixing the irregularities of streets and pedestrians, right? What is the best way, easy way to finance such project? I think that's a very useful research, especially in Mongolia, where the roads are even considered one of the most terrible, or almost in the world. I think compared to Mongolia, Japan has better roads. But okay, in terms of, my question is that how would you solve it? Where would you begin? How would you solve the financial issues?
Thank you. Firstly, in Japan, to maintain the road condition, person check the road. So I think that this kind of technology application can take place, the maintenance. And also it is need some like incentive to post the dangerous point, to post the picture of dangerous point. So I shed light on correct data automatically. That is accelerometer. And in addition to this, actually, I send. I will have a patent that's anticipate disease from working data and foreign data, and that's where use that may be used as a medical instrument in the future. So like
so you use
like
social networks, right?
Yeah.
Was it effective to gather some awareness? How effective was it on Twitter, maybe Facebook?
Yes, that's right.
Was helpful.
But as you said, the finance is very important to continue this project. So I want to need help university.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Teacher, excuse me, can I ask one question from one of the speakers?
Okay.
I would like to ask one question from Ishtam Tooks. How many team members does your team has? Did you gather up all the 7,500 data alone, or did you deal with some team members?
Okay, actually, this research made by Munkh-orgil. She is the worker on Ministry of Health at Mongolian National Ministry of Health, and I asked her, can I have permission to represent this data and research and in this international student conference? And she said yes, and she helped me to fill some data and gave me some opportunity to enter the motherboard of data, I would say, in up to date to get some information and statistics about it. Yeah, and actually the questionnaires were formed by Google Form, which means all we had to do was send links to all the participants, and they had to fulfill.
Yeah, but even though we send the Google form, they do not fill it out, so it's a little hard to gather up 7,000. Okay, thank you.
But the percentage was high, like 99%. All of them filled the questionnaire. So, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Now we will have 5-minute break and the judges will make up the decisions, and let's meet up after 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. Okay, I would like to welcome Professor Munkh-orgil from the Department of Foreign Languages, Head of Department.
Okay. Good evening, professors, guests, researchers, students, and our faculty members. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank Professor Hamajima and his two students from Nagoya University, and also Akayaka Mashashi, Professor Akayaka Mashashi, and his two students from Tokushima University, and a team from Irkutsk Medical University, and also all participants and all students from Mongolian National University of Medical Sciences. And also I would like to thank our conference organization team for a nice chairing Professor Munkh-orgil, Munkh-saya Paksha, and also Ondurma Paksha, and Nasinjar Paksha, and Overton Paksha. Thank you very much. And also I would like to thank our judges, team leader Girdle Paksha, Judge Team Leader Girdle Paksha, and also Timuchun Paksha and Nasinjar Paksha. Thank you very much. And also I would like to thank Timuchun Paksha for wonderful, nice questions. Yeah, thank you so much. And I would like to thank everyone's time and effort. Today, each and everyone's presentation was interesting and wonderful, and had a lots of great information. I am personally glad that students get to practice their presentation skills in their first and second year. And you know, some students were first-year students, and some of you were second-year students. Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. I believe that the students learned something new while they're getting prepared for the presentation. I hope many of you have learned many things. For example, how to write an abstract, and you know, everyone now knows abstract structure, yeah, and how to choose the keywords and so on. So, okay, now without further ado, I wanted to announce the winners. You know, conferences are not a competition, right? So, however, we want to encourage our students because they spend a lot of time for the preparation. So we want to encourage our students. As you know, we have two special places, and each first, second, and third places. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Right now, I have an okay. Okay. Our special. Place winner is Alicia Tatajano. I wanted to explain here only one thing, okay? I'm overjoyed to announce that every winner will get a grant to study to Norgim's IELTS class, okay? Okay, you don't know who's the Norgim. I wanted to explain. Norgim is our lecturer. She conducts a Facebook page, which is called Let's Grow with Norgim, okay? I will repeat his page group. Let's Grow with Norgim. And right now, our Norgim lives and works in Sydney, Australia. And so our first, I'm sorry, just special place winner is Alicia Tatajano. Okay, it was like fifth place, yeah? Okay, let's congratulations. Let's congratulate, okay? Okay, let me now announce our next special place winner. Who's our next special winner? Could you show me? Okay, who's our next special winner? Special place winner. Okay, just a moment. Okay, you guys, we need to wait a little bit. Okay. Our next special place winner is Marutma. I'm sorry, Marutgwa. Okay, let's congratulate Marutgwa. Okay. Okay, you can see. Could you show us the next slide? Okay. Norgim's 5-week intensive IELTS grammar course. You will get a grant of this Norgim's IELTS grammar course grant. Okay. Now we will announce our third place winner. Yeah. Okay, Ayundara, I wanted to congratulate you. You are the winner of the third place. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. You will get a grant, Norgim's 5-week intensive IELTS grammar course. Oh, you are so happy, yeah? It's nice to see your smile. Okay, who's our second place winner? Oh, our second place winner is Kojima Daeki. Are you there?
Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah, I wanted to congratulate you. Okay, we really like your paper. Your presentation was very good. Your research was so nice. Okay, okay. Second place winner will get a grant, Norgim's 10-week intensive IELTS course. Congratulations. Okay, a few minutes later we will announce our first place winner. Oh yeah. Okay, our first place winners are Dorj Bottom Gansu and Han Tushik Bitlip Surun. It's a teamwork. Let's congratulate. Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you so much.
Dorj Botma, yeah.
It's a
Could you
great
show
honor.
us the first place winners prize? Okay. Okay, you will get a grant, Norgim's 10-week intensive IELTS course. Okay. It's maybe all, yeah. Thank you very much again, you guys. And Professor Hamajima, are you there? Maybe you wanted to say something at the end? Okay. Professor Hamajima, are you there? Oh, yeah. Could you open your microphone? Yeah, microphone, yeah.
Today's presentation always nice and very impressive. And the participant will have improved their English ability and the knowledge and the skill as a medical doctor or researcher. Thank you for thank you for very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now, everyone, I wanted to ask you, everyone, open your camera, and we wanted to make some pictures, okay? Okay.
Okay, everyone, open up your cameras and smile. 1, 2, 3. Cheese, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Another one. Okay, open up your video cameras. Let's have
Are you there? I'm sorry,
yeah. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Cheese. Okay. Okay, I think that's enough.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Yeah, you
Thank
did
you,
a great
everyone.
job today. Yeah.
The round of professors.
much. Yeah, see you next time.
See you next time.
Yeah, we are going to organize
you.
this kind of conference each year annually. So let's meet next time, next year, okay? Dear students, see you.
See you. Thank you.
See you next time.
聞いてますか?
Tumenjin-san, thank you.
Hi.
Murasawa-desu. Thank you very much for your organizing and questions to our students. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see your on the name.
Oh, me too. Thank you. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, time is up.
Yes, your face is looks like.
Can you see? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the time is up.
Yeah, our university, all of team knows you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Murasawa-san.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
great
you very much,
evening.
everyone.
Thank you.
Сейчас активно.
Alicia.
Emily,
Okay, you. Alicia, огромное спасибо. Спасибо большое.
И вам спасибо за организацию конференции, за высокий уровень ее. Мы с нетерпением ждем наших монгольских студентов. Мы не видели их еще со второго курса. 2 года
Из-за
прошло.
ковида, да.
Из-за
Спасибо
ковида,
большое, да. Нам очень понравилась ваша работа, да, ваше выступление, ваш русский тоже, ваш английский тоже отличный. Вы просто умница. Спасибо вам большое.
Спасибо вам. Надеюсь, что это не первая наша конференция совместная. И в будущем надеюсь на плодотворное сотрудничество совместное.
Да, конечно. У нас есть ваш адрес. Обязательно мы вас пригласим в следующий раз.
Хорошо, ждем.
А вы сказали, вы на каком курсе сейчас?
Сейчас на 4-м курсе.
На 4-м, да? Придется учиться до 6-го курса, да?
Да, до 6-го
Еще
курса.
2 года есть, да?
Еще 2 года, да, и потом
Хорошо.
ординатура.
Угу. Приезжайте к нам.
Да, у меня есть
наш город, да.
мечта посетить Улан-Бат, прокатиться по пустыне Гоби.
Обязательно приезжайте, да.
Спасибо.
Я вам напишу, хорошо?
Хорошо.
Спасибо вам еще раз, да.
Ждем вас у нас в Сибири, на берегу Байкала.
Да, обязательно мы приедем, да, обязательно. Спасибо вам.
The end of the conference. Thank you for coming.